Hey, what's up guys? How you doing? It's me, Mr. 4K Upscaler. So on this video, we're gonna go through the OPPO UDP 203 menus. We're gonna go through them and we're gonna go step by step, and every and each individual option we'll go through and we'll talk about it. So let's first jump into our user interface here. As you can see, user interface, it's very responsive, very simple. On your bottom, you will see a tape, a little display tape that goes across the screen, and there you will see icons for the Blu-ray disc, for the music, for the photos, for the movies. You can hook up your USB hard drive and you can watch movies from here. Same thing with photos and music. You got the network where you can check your network status, and setup and favorites. But first, let's go through the setup here. Let's jump right into the setup menu, and this is where a lot of magic happens, is on the setup menu. Let's go to the video output setup. Playback setup, it's something I wouldn't mess with. I would just keep it on like this. Alright, I wouldn't mess with that. Video output setup, this is where it shines. This is where this OPPO UDP 203 4K player stands out from the rest of the 4K players, because of variety of different ranges of customizations that you can do. There are picture adjustments, meaning you can calibrate within a 4K player. You can calibrate picture settings on your Blu-ray disc. Currently, I have transformers in there, and you can calibrate this just like you can calibrate your television. You click on it, and there's your adjustments. It has three different types of modes. It has a mode 1, mode 2, and then mode 3. What these modes are their presets. So you can save the mode 1 preset. Let's say you want to watch documentaries on your 4K player and you have a certain preset for that documentary, Blu-ray or 4K movie disc. So you can save that preset. Or let's say you want to watch some sports discs for something, whether it's NBA, NFL, or FIFA, or soccer, whatever. You can have that different for the sports, different calibration mode too, and you can save that preset. Or you can have the preset 3 for the movies, and then you can save it and leave it there. Like I said, you have brightness, you have contrast, you have hue, you have saturation, you have sharpness, and noise reduction. So you got everything that you would need to adjust your picture on your 4K OPPO UDP 203 player. Okay, and that's pretty cool that they give you this range of options. And if that wasn't enough, they also give you the HDR settings. So now on HDR settings, you can set your target luminance. I set it to 700 because this television can only output maximum 700 luminous nits, peak brightness nits, and that's TCL. For those of you who are wondering, it's a TCL Roku TV 55-inch P605 model, and I set it to 700. If I was using this on a Samsung KS8000, which I will also as well, I would set it to probably 1600. I would go as high as possible. But for here, you want to go with 700 because this is what this TV can only handle. This is as far as it can go. It's 700 nits. All right, so let's exit that. Now HDR has the different types of options as well. You can choose automatic, or you can choose the one that's forced. So you can force that dynamic metadata or static metadata to render more faster, if you will. But I wouldn't mess with that because that could only can create certain conflicts between your TV processing and then your HDMI cable. So the best thing to do, I would leave HDR on automatic and just use target luminance to whatever nits your TV can output. Make sure you do research on your TV, find out how many luminance of nits, peak brightness, can your TV go up to. And that's pretty cool. I mean, I'm just showing you the amount of options that OPPO UDP 203 has here. Now, output resolution, I would put it on automatic. Let the OPPO decide what's the best resolution. So output resolution automatic, UHD resolution automatic. All of this stuff I would keep on automatic, okay? But if you want to, you can change it. You know, you have options here to choose between automatic, 12-bit sampling, or 10-bit sampling. Now, you can leave it on 10-bit because your TV is 10-bit, but I would still leave it on automatic. Let the TV will automatically decide what's the best possible color rendering for your panel, and it will detect that this TV it's a 10-bit, so it will always keep it on 10-bit. Okay, so I would keep everything here on automatic. I wouldn't mess with this. Same thing with the color space. I would keep it on automatic because many of you don't even know what half of these codecs means. Okay, these chromas. For example, people be always asking me, what is the difference between Ycbcr 420 and Ycbcr 422? Well, the major difference is 420, it's sampling it horizontally and vertically. It's sampling it from television. Actually, it's doing that. So HDMI, it's sending a signal to the television, and it's oversampling it vertically and horizontally. It's oversampling that and giving you that compressed 10-bit, or if you're watching Dolby Vision, 12-bit dynamic metadata and a 4K resolution. And the TV, what I'm basically saying is 420 and 422, the TV, it's handling that compression. Ycbcr color output, it's being rendered now directly by a source from 4K player. Would I use this? Honestly, I wouldn't use neither one of these, because sometimes if you use the Ycbcr Chroma 444, then your television or your HDMI cable, let's say you have a really old HDMI cable and your 4K player is somewhere far down below, and it's about 12 feet HDMI cable, and it's like a so-so HDMI cable, it's not like a high premium and HDMI cable, then you might have some issues, some problems reading the bandwidth. Okay, that high HDMI is the high digital media interface, high definition media interface, and some of these HDMI cables, they cannot read that bandwidth that fast. But luckily with OPPO 203, you get premium HDMI 2.0 cable included, so that way you can go ahead and read a much faster bandwidth from your 4K player to your TV. Okay, so the bottom line is this: the RGB is something you would use for a PC. The best thing to do is just leave it on automatic. Unless you're professional, unless you certified and you know what these codecs are and what they mean, unless you understand how they work and what their meaning is behind them, and how they process everything, then I wouldn't mess with this, honestly. But even professionals wouldn't mess with this. They would leave it as it is. The best thing to do is use automatic. That's what I would do. Just leave it on automatic. So as you see, you have color space options as well, and you also have a color depth. Like I said, options. You want to go with 12-bit, 10-bit, 8-bit, but then again, I would leave it on automatic. You also have a TV aspect ratio. Would you like the 6.69 wide ratio, or would you like 6.9 wide automatic? I'll leave it on automatic. Everything here, I would leave it on automatic because you're gonna do calibration from your TV. Okay, the best thing to do, leave this 4K player, everything on automatic on a default, and let the 4K player output that signal. Okay, and then you can do a calibration from your TV and let the 4K player send that signal out with the HDR premium cable that you have. Make sure you use a good HDR premium cable. If you buy this 4K player, you will get a HDR premium cable to begin with. It's a really good HDMI premium cable. So leave everything at default, and then from the TV you can do customizations and calibrations. Okay. But the reason I'm doing this video because I want to show you just how extensive and rich this 4K player is and the amount of options it has. Now you're starting to realize why it's highly recommended and why it's at the high price point. When you look at these features that it has, then you start realizing, oh my goodness, now it makes sense why it's so expensive. Okay. It also has the 3D settings. You know, you can adjust your 3D settings. How much of depth would you like between 2D and 3D output. So it has all of these things. It has all of these elements, which I think is pretty cool that they're doing this, because if you're a home cinema enthusiast and you want to have the best of the best in your home cinema theater, then of course you're going to be getting the OPPO, because OPPO is really going to give you that true film experience and variety of different options for your home cinema theater. Okay. It also has the DVD 24p conversion. It says to 24 hertz frame rate conversion for DVDs. I would turn this on. All it's going to do is going to make your DVDs better. I don't know how many of you are going to be using these DVDs, but I would leave it on, you know. But again, as it says down below, it might have some side effects to it, you know. But you could turn it on. You could turn it on. But again, you know, there might be some artifacts on the frame rates. It might not be stable depending on the DVD. Like I said, you can try it, you can use it. I haven't tried it. I might try this on a DVD. I need to get some DVDs and try it out. But I don't know, honestly, how many people are using DVDs anymore. But if you do, you can turn that on and test it for yourself. But I wouldn't mess with it. I would leave it on off, you know. It has the Deinterlacing Mode, which it chooses the proper algorithm to convert interlaced video to progressive output. You know, you guys do know what the interlace is, you know. They're vertical lines. They're not pixel by pixel, okay? So what it does, basically, it uses the algorithm from the interlace, and it's up converting it to a progressive output, pixel by pixel. So interlace will become pixel by pixel because it's being up converted to a progressive output. So it has that feature as well. I would keep this on automatic. Honestly, I would keep this on automatic as well. I wouldn't mess with this. So this just shows you just the amount of feature just the video has. And we haven't even scratched the surface on the audio part of it. But this just gives you the idea, the range of possibilities that you can do with this 4K player. And it's really aimed, the best way to me to explain OPPO, it's really aimed for people who have projectors, for people who have home theaters, with receivers and big giant 75-inch or 85-inch screens, QLED or 65-inch OLEDs. So it's really aimed for people who are like home cinema, home theater enthusiasts, okay? Now let's go back to the audio output setup. I would leave this off. Secondary audio, this is something if you wish to do, you can do. But this is really for people who have studios, people who are like do video editing, stuff like that. So I would leave that off. HDMI audio format. Now you can choose between LPCM, bitstream, or off. I would suggest leave it on automatic because if you are using a ARC return HDMI cable, then it'll automatically detect whatever the playback it is being played on. So I would leave this on automatic. As you can see, it has a lot of different codecs here. Bitstream, DVD audio mode, SACD priority, multi-channel mode. It has a lot of different. This player plays everything, and I do mean everything. There's nothing that you can put on this tray of this OPPO UDP 203 that it's not going to play. It will play everything, and I do mean everything. Now, audio processing output volume, it's a variable. You can choose between fixed. I like to keep it variable because the variable, it can fluctuate the mixer of that sound. So that way, if there's something happening in the scene, in the movie, then the mixer will be able to depict that variable sound effects. So I would keep it on variable. Power and the volume, you can keep that on last. Maximum volume, I keep it to 100. Dynamic range control, I would keep that on automatic. I wouldn't mess with it. Keep it on automatic. Speaker configuration. This is for those of you who want to truly get down and calibrate your speakers. This is where this OPPO player comes in handy for those of you who have all of these speakers and are able to pinpoint between the 4K player and the receiver so you can get the best possible sounding surround sound. And this is why, again, it's highly regarded, because this is really a 4K player. This 4K player is truly made for enthusiasts, for home cinema enthusiasts, and that's for whom this is intended to. Really, it's intended for home cinema enthusiasts, people who want the best of the best. Okay? You can also choose a crossover 80 hertz. I would always recommend to keep it on 80 hertz because 80 hertz will give you that THX certified low bass. And that's what you want, that low bass as possible. So when the bullets is flying by, you're gonna feel it. Or if the airplane it's flying by, like you're gonna feel that moving across. You're gonna hear it moving across and feel it because of the low bass. You know what I mean? There's the DTS Neo. Here's the thing. A lot of people have been asking me about DTS Neo surround sound. You can use it, but honestly, don't use the DTS Neo. It's a fake surround filter. It doesn't really. All it does, it screws up the original track. All right, so I would turn all of these filters off. They're like DTS Neo. Turn these filters off because that's what they are. They're simulated filters. All they're gonna do is they're gonna strip down the original mix of a movie, and then you're not gonna hear all that extra detail as it was meant to be on the original mix on the disc. Okay, so I would just keep this. Keep it turned off. That's what I would do. And of course, here you have the device setup. It let you know firmware information. It's a UDP 20X460622. It lets you know the firmware update. and pretty much everything about the remote control, the IR sensor, everything. I mean, it's all here. And the network setup, I haven't connected it yet, which I will connect it. So, as a matter of fact, I can do that right now. Alright, so I have successfully connected to the internet, so I'm all good to go. Alright, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to click on Transformers, and I'm going to show you some of the features that are like available here on the remote control. Pretty cool, unique features that you can do. One of the cool features that I like is the A and B replay. So this is kind of cool if you want to do a calibration while you're watching that certain scene, and you can calibrate that one certain scene by using the A and B repeat mode button, and then you can, based on that scene, you can determine what type of sharpness, how much of sharpness, color, brightness, contrast, color of tone of color, I'm sorry. You can determine all of that stuff based on looking at that repeat A and B. So let's click on right here. And here, as you can tell, Dolby Vision, it's automatically playing. I know it says Xbox One X. That's because the input I'm using is the Xbox One X, the one that I created. But it's Dolby Vision. It's right there. And I'm gonna jump to one scene here really quick, and I'm just gonna show you a couple of things here. So here I selected a couple of scenes from A and B here on the remote control. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's right here. Let me get it closer so you guys can see it. Here, let me focus here. You see, like right here where it says A and B, right here. This is a pretty cool feature, because this feature, it's allowing you to select from point A to point B on the repeat mode, so you can tell which scene do you want. For example, I selected this scene because this scene can give me some understanding of more closed in color in the closed spaces in this movie, and then outside color in the outside, like right here. And then you can decide to pause it if you like, and you can go to a different scene and choose a different scene here if you like. You see, this is Dolby Vision right now. This is very useful because with this option A and B, you can actually calibrate the movie better, because there's a certain scene you remember, and you've seen a certain scene, and you want to use that certain scene as a demo purpose for you to calibrate that certain scene. And same thing here. I've chosen this particular scene right here, and on this particular scene I can calibrate the outside world, looking at the scenery here, and I can pause it, and then I can, based on that, I can actually look at this particular two repeat scenes to give me a better understanding on how I should calibrate this movie. You know what I mean? And this is a very cool and unique feature that this OPPO UDP 2 or 3 4K player has, because it's really giving the ability to calibrate your movie to the best possible settings, you know. And right here, I can go to my menu here on my television. I can decide what I feel is the best. I like to keep it at bright, and the brightness, I will leave it at brighter. So brighter and bright, obviously here, Dolby Vision will look much, much better. And then we can go to advanced picture settings, sharpness 20, color 45. I would turn the color a little bit higher. I would turn the color to 55, Let's keep the color at 55. Color temperature warm, which is fine. I would leave it at warm. So now I have the ability to go back and forth here and choose how I want this movie to look, because I have both of these scenes being constantly repeated, A and B, and I can go back and work on my calibration process here. So this is pretty cool. This is a pretty cool feature to use. I originally find this out from Vincent Teo. He uses this a lot, and I was wondering, how does he do this? How does he get these scenes to repeat like this? And then I find out this is the reason why he's using OPPO 203 is because of this feature, which is a pretty cool and unique feature if you ask me, because it will going to give you a much better demo for you to calibrate. Okay, now we can calibrate both outdoor and indoor. See, there's the indoor scene and then there's the outdoor scene. It'll give you a much better understanding on how it should look, what type of calibration, what type of picture settings you should use. Okay, that's a pretty cool feature. So same thing here, indoor, outdoor. You see this feature A and B, it's giving me the option to do that. And I can pause it here, and then I can spend time here as well to see what I should change, what type of colors I should use, what percentage of colors I should do here, how much of brightness, how much of contrast. Obviously, this is a excellent demo for, it's like a dream come true for people who want to calibrate. Because there's going to be a certain scenes in the movie that you want to kind of look and see. And with this feature, A and B repeat mode, it's going to give you that leverage to examine the scene, look at the two different scenes, and try to balance the color and sharpness and brightness and tone of color as well to get the best possible picture quality. And it's a pretty cool feature. See, like right now, I can pause it right here. Hold on. I can pause it at the outside. Now, hold on. There it is. This is the outside. And now here on the outside, I can determine and see how much, should I change anything? Should I add a little extra? So it gives you that ability, honestly, to mess around and look at you can really spend a lot of time calibrating the movie like this, and it works for me. This is an excellent tool for me to calibrate certain movies, and this is an excellent tool. And this is just not even 1% of what's available on this OPPO 203. There's so much to cover. I just spent half an hour just covering some basics here, and it's really goes even further. You know what I mean? So it's definitely a look. The reason this 4K player, it's made for those who want to experience the best of the best. Okay. Now there's another thing called the resolution. You can change the resolution. Okay, but right now it's not available for Dolby Vision content. Okay, they don't have that option for Dolby Vision content. And then we can go ahead and go to the top menu, exit out of here. Oh, before I go, there's another thing I want to show you. There's the info thing right here. This info, it's perfect. It's perfect because it tells you exactly how many megabits per second is this movie running on, and also tells you what track is it using. It's using Dolby True HD, 7.1 48K. It also lets you what type of codec is it using on a Blu-ray disc media MV, and it's Hdmi, which is a pretty high-end codec right there. and you can see just how many megabits it's rendering right there. You can see it. But these info features can be extended even higher, you know, to even more depth of information. So, like I said, I'm not even scratching the surface here on what's available on this OPPO UDP 2 or 3 4K player. Now you understand why I'm going to have to spend a lot of time doing the videos and testing certain things with this 4K player. Well, there you go. It's been 30 minutes. Hopefully you guys like this. Hopefully I won't get blocked. You know, that would suck. Hopefully I won't get blocked. You know what I mean? So I don't see any reason why I would get blocked, because I'm just using this as a demo reference, technical demo reference. All right, so there you have it, guys. This is just me just scratching the basics of this 4K player. There's so much more on this 4K player to talk about, and there will be so much more tests with this 4K player, OPPO UDP 203. All right, thank you guys for watching my second video. And remember, tomorrow there'll be plenty of videos on OPPO UDP 203. Everything you want to know about this player will be presented on my YouTube channel. All right, thank you guys for watching.